You have to count calories, otherwise you're never going to lose weight. Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at High Carb Generator. Welcome back to my channel. So I got this in the comments the other day. I actually deleted the comment because it was kind of an attack on somebody else. If you're going to make comments like that, just make it in a general thing, and I'll probably leave it. I just don't need people attacking other people. But anyways, so I wanted to make this video. What they were talking about was Neil Barnard, Pritikin, I think Walter Kempner, and McDougall. Now, I don't have any McDougall's books right now in print, so I'm going to hop into the computer after I'm done with this first part here, and I'm going to show you an older video by McDougall that I've always liked because it reminds me of the old VHS days. So anyways, this I'm going to, because I'm just going to be reading in a lot of this, I'm going to have my one of my bike rides in the background. I'll probably be a little bit of jump cuts here just because I got to find pages. And let's get started. So the first person that I'm going to cover is Pritikin. I think it's pretty simple. He doesn't really talk about it a whole lot. There's a couple of things in here that I wanted to read. And this is out of the Pritikin program for diet and exercise. Now I'm going to compare these kind of at the end. The three of them, actually probably the four of them at the end, and then I'll conclude the video. So, all right, this is right off the bat in Pritikin. This is page number 3. Not only is the Pritikin safe and healthy, but it maintains your ideal weight or gets you to your ideal weight without any restrictions on food quantity. You can eat as much as you like of any of the permissible foods all day long if you wish. Now, does that sound like food restriction to you? Does that sound like calorie counting to you? If it does, let me know down in the comments section. Now, he does go on to say, for accelerated maximum weight loss, sounds like McDougall, we offer a variation on the regular diet. It is prescribed later in part 4. If you're an average American, your diet is probably the polar opposite of the Pritikin, and you will be fine with just regular Pritikin. He also goes on to talk about food balance, because everybody likes to talk about food balance. I will be right back on that one. All right, he's got an entire chapter here called Food Balancing. If you have this book, it's chapter 7, page 37. And at the end here, it says, as you can see, the Pritikin diet has once and for all done away with the classic balanced diet. It was feasible and ailing anyhow, and it never very useful. So there you go with the whole balanced diet thing. Everybody's talking about balance. You got to have your proteins, got to have your fat, you got to have your carbohydrates, got to have blah, 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 blah. And it's really just not necessary. Everything that you need is in whole foods, right? Now, if you're going to try to eat the sugar diet or something like that, then yeah, you're probably going to have to. Or if you're going to eat the all fat diet, or if you're going to eat the keto diet, or if you're going to eat whatever other kind of diet that you're going to talk about, maybe you do have to balance. I don't know. If you're going to do the Twinkie diet, the McDonald's diet, whatever, KFC all day, whatever it is, all these other diets that you're seeing pop up here, people are talking about, well, I was at my parents' house the other day for Easter, and my sister was talking about this guy who was talking about, we eat too much, right? We eat too much. This guy lost weight going to McDonald's, eating a half of a quarter pounder for lunch. What is that, like 30 calories? I mean, come on, people. Of course you're going to lose weight because you're starving yourself to death. I just don't understand that. So anyway, it's just some of the stuff that I hear anymore is crazy. So anyway, this is Neil Barnard, Turn Off the Fat Genes. I have not read or listened to any of his other books, but I did want to talk about some of the stuff he said in this book. I actually have this one marked off. So overall genes control, and this talks about genetics. This doesn't talk, some of the people were asking me on my lives about some of the other stuff that he might talk about. It literally is just about genetics and how they affect you. I'm sure he talks about some of this other stuff that you were asking me in other books or on his videos, but not in this one. So overall genes control 30 to 40% of the speed at which your body burns calories. In Quebec, Canada, researchers found that about 1 in every 14 people has a gene for especially quick metabolism that makes them resistant to weight gain almost no matter what they eat. Other genes effects are less dramatic, pushing the metabolism up or down, but whatever genes your parents gave you, you can alter your metabolism. If you have ever been on a low-calorie diet, you have been you have seen how easy it is to push your metabolism in the wrong direction. Low-calorie diet slows your metabolism down, making weight loss more and more difficult and causing an all too rapid return of weight once the diet is over. You might have started out with calorie burning speed of a hummingbird, but a severe diet, say 500 calories, only 500 calories. And if you really look, that's most of the time, like especially if you go into, like, say, the muscle bodybuilding magazines or the runner's world of the magazines, 500 calories every single time. It's like this number. Eat 500 calories less a day. That'll do you. And 500 calories less a day slows it down almost immediately. Does that sound like calorie restriction to you? Like whoever made that comment? Does that sound like calorie restriction? I don't think it does. All right, so this one, he's talking about this chapter. If you have the book, this chapter is which one? How genes influence your exercise. So he gets, this is page 100. So how do we get started? Let me offer a few suggestions. First, to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. Also, if you have been on a low-calorie diet, it has probably slowed your metabolism. Although most people get a metabolism boost from exercise, it can have the opposite effect if you've been restricting calories. Put off any vigorous physical activity for now. Get your meals in shape for a few weeks with no artificial calorie limit. Doesn't sound like counting calories, does it? I don't think so. Then start your exercise program once your metabolism is back to normal. Does that say count your calories, folks? No, it does not. All right, here's another one. I got to find some of this. I'll be right back. All right, so here's part one. Now, if you're following me and if you have this book, it's chapter 8, page 115. All right, so this is chapter 8. Page 115, if you have this book and you are following around and don't want to watch me ride the bike anymore. We have examined which diet patterns are most powerful for cutting cholesterol levels, getting hormones into balance, managing diabetes, and dealing with many other problems. Over the long run, a change in diet often reveals the power of drugs or rivals. The power of drugs or surgery. Emerging from our research is a weight control method that counters fat-building genes and bolsters thin genes. It works without any artificial restrictions on portion sizes, and even without exercise, although exercise adds to its benefit. Rather than focusing on the amount of food you eat, we focus on the type, because it's based on fundamental menu change, its effects can essentially be permanent. The diet changes are much easier to follow than calorie-restricted diets, fad diets, or ultra-high protein diets. Does that sound like calorie restriction to you? He literally says, don't do calorie restriction. You're right here. Page 115. All right, there's a couple more. I'll be right back. All right, then on page 116, I'm going to jump around here a little bit. Respect your taste type. In sensible weight control program, you will want to greatly increase your intake of vegetables and fruits as they are low in fat and calories, loaded with fiber, and rich in nutrients. But you will need to respect your taste type. And then he goes on to talk about a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to talk about. It has nothing to do with calories. And I will be right back. All right, he goes on to talk about this thing called PROP. I'm not going to go into that in this video. PROP is kind of interesting. It's a very interesting book. And like I said, like 3 or 4 videos now, I got this book, bought the book, and shipped it to me for $6 completely. Or totally. So, I mean, it's really not expensive. The danger you face in the somewhat insensitive taste buds, which I think is probably a lot of us who watch this, in their search for satisfaction may lead you to overeat. He says, quote unquote, overeat. In this case, you will be fine if you stock your pantry with whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and legumes, beans, peas, and lentils, because these foods are not calorie dense, so occasional overdoses causes no problem. Spaghetti with light tomato sauce, veggie chili, and healthful soups such as split pea, lentil, black bean, or minestrone are low in fat that overdoing it a bit poses no risk. However, you will have a problem if you run into fatty foods. Cheese, meats, potato chips, and other calorie-dense foods will easily contribute to your body fat. It doesn't say to restrict calories here. Not at all. I'm going to look. I think there's one more page, and I'll be right back. Last thing that I think I'm going to read, hopefully you can actually hear me. Last thing I'm going to read from this book, Sparing Leptin, Pacing Your Weight Loss, page 118. Low-calorie diet will rob you of leptin, encourage an out-of-control appetite, bring a dispiriting weight gain soon after your diet is over. An optimal weight loss speed, neither too fast nor too slow, keeps your leptin system in gear. It makes it easier to maintain your progress and avoid backsliding later on. Avoid calorie restriction, no matter how motivated you may be to lose weight. I think that tells you where he stands with this, but maybe not. Read the whole book, and there you go. He does have different groups that you should stick within. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I will give you the 4 groups if you want to write it down. The whole grain group, the legume group, the vegetable group, and the fruit group. Now, he does put sweet potatoes in the vegetable group, and if you if you look at the, hopefully you can hear me because I had the book in front of that would really suck. If you look at the Japanese, actually the Japanese pyramid is actually kind of a funnel. It's the invert of the pyramid. If you read in there, the vegetables are actually, they can include potatoes and sweet potatoes in their vegetables. So keep that in mind. Anyway, hopefully that answered your question with as far as Pritikin and Barnard go. I'm going to hop into the computer in a couple minutes here and talk about McDougall. The last thing I am going to talk about is Walter Kempner. He's an odd one. He did have some calorie restriction with some people, and some people he didn't. I don't know where to stand with him, but his diet was basically fruit, rice, sugar, and fruit juice. That was his diet. And we're just talking straight white rice, straight just plain old table sugar, and fruit juice and everything else. So it wasn't exactly a complicated diet, nor did it have, quote unquote balance. He did have people on a vitamin tab, but other than that, that's all it was. That's all it was. So keep that in mind. As far as, I'll break these things down after I do the McDougall. So I'm going to do the McDougall thing right now.
Okay, maybe I did order a little too much. But even if I ate all this, it's not going to do me any harm. If you're not a vegetarian,
All right, so we're back. So if you really want to review this, let's review this a little bit. Pritikin and McDougall are completely into potatoes. They basically tell you that you can live on potatoes. I'm just talking about regular white potatoes. Barnard is kind of against potatoes, kind of because of high glycemic index and kind of because he says it breaks down really fast in your system. But he's into grains and whole grains, and he's very into pasta. Pasta and beans he seems to be really into a lot. Pritikin is like eat potatoes breakfast, lunch, and dinner. McDougall basically says the same thing. So, whatever you want to do there. Pritikin and Barnard and Kempner were all into exercise, where McDougall really isn't terribly into exercise. That do your 15, 25 minutes a day. So there goes with the exercise. But I know Kempner had people walking like 8, 10 miles a day. Barnard says about 30 minutes a day. Pritikin says 30 to 60 minutes a day of exercise. But both of those two are really into walking, nothing strenuous. And McDougall says if you do anything, walking. So walking seems to be unanimous with all 4, but one of them doesn't really care about exercise all that much. And all of them say that if you can lose weight without exercising, do it. But it has other benefits other than weight loss, so you might want to actually go walking. I mean, if you look at our genetic code, we're actually built to go walking. So it might be a smart idea to go do that, but you don't have to, I guess. You can be sedentary all your life and still apparently lose weight on these diets and without calorie restriction. Now, where calorie restriction comes in is if you have a really high protein diet, which he talks about in here. I haven't gotten to that chapter yet. All of them talk about high protein is bad. All 4 of them. And what else is there? If high fat, if you're going to do high fat, high protein, you're going to have to count your calories. But if you eat the food that we're meant to eat, you don't have to count calories. It's in the book. But these people came onto my channel, and you know, it's crazy too, because people assume how much calories I'm eating. I don't really do a lot of what I eat in a day. I don't really show what I eat too much, because it's usually the same thing and it's boring as hell. I mean, there's a lot of us who do this lifestyle don't create a ton of what I eat in a day videos, even though everybody wants them. But you can literally watch my last what I eat in a day video, and it's going to look very similar to what I do now. Now, I have added exercise, and after I shoot after this is done right here, I'm about to go for a walk. But that's about the only change I made. And the sugar thing, I am backing way off on the sugar, because the only time I really need to add sugar is when I'm exercising a lot. And so I'm going to probably talk about that in a separate video, if I talk about it at all. Maybe I'll talk about it in the live. I have no idea. But this is the end of the video. Like, subscribe, questions, comments down below, and I'll talk to you in the next one.